Hello and welcome to WIFR's coverage of Stroll on State. Now, if you've been outside already, you've seen that the state line has already been hit with quite a bit of snowfall
little bit.
here. So let's bring in meteorologist DJ Baker with a look at how much we really can expect to continue to pile up here across the state line. DJ?
Yeah, so far we've seen about 3 to 4 inches fall across the region, and well, we're expecting that number to really start to increase here over the next couple of hours. Let's go ahead into our Max Storm Tracker, and with it, you can kind of already see that we're seeing those brighter whites approaching from the southwest, and that's going to be our heavier amounts of snowfall. Now, with that in mind, I do think snowfall rates will pick up from what we had earlier this morning, about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch per hour, and we'll likely get that bumped up to, at times, nearly 1 to 2 inches per hour. So with that in mind, we are likely going to see quickly accumulating snow here throughout the remainder of our afternoon, and even hour by hour timecast is kind of suggesting the exact same thing. Now, by the time we get towards 7, 8 o'clock, that's when I think our snowfall rates will start to back off once again. So with that in mind, the biggest portion of snow are likely going to fall over the next couple of hours. So overall, total-wise, I think we could be looking at an additional 5 to 7 inches across the region, and if you tally it on to our already 3 to 4 inches on the ground, and we are likely going to go ahead and see nearly 7 to 10 inches of snow on the ground by the time things wrap up early on for our Sunday morning. Now, some areas that will get some heavier pockets of snow can roll out potentially up to a foot in total. So yeah, definitely going to have some impactful travel impacts heading into the rest of today, tonight, and likely even into our Sunday morning. Now, Jake, I'll have you go ahead and step back on here with me, as again, we're going to be approaching kind of the, not tipping point, but definitely more of the active point stance as we get into the remainder of the afternoon. Because don't forget, as our snowfall rates pick up, visibility is also likely to go down, with at times less than 1/4 of a mile visibility, and heck, maybe even less could be possible. So definitely some tricky travel out there. And if you plan on attending Stroll on State or heading out, you really want to be careful. Give yourself plenty of time with the car in front of you, extra time to get anywhere you need to go. And of course, you want to extend the amount of time that you have as you're going for your braking, because it's going to take a lot more to try to brake, because our friction, of course, is highly reduced. So just kind of keep that in mind. Do some safe traveling tips and advice. So overall, we all get through this. And for shoveling impacts and purposes, you probably want to shovel once every 2 to 3 hours, because it's not the big fluffy snow you can use just a leaf blower that can move off, but it's also not that wet, heavy snow that really gets heavy and, maybe hurts your back and potentially that heart attack snow. Instead, if you break it up and do every 2 to 3 hours, it'll take you some time and, a lot of effort, but hopefully it should keep the wear and tear on our bodies kind of at a minimum.
Yeah, lifting with those legs rather than with our lower back, of course.
Yep.
It's something that we're going to want to be remembering here. And of course, obviously today is that coverage of Stroll on State here on WIFR. And with that snowy weather forecast, some adjustments have been forced to have been made here at this 13th annual celebration. So just going over some of those bigger changes here, the full event is actually going to close 2 hours earlier at 7 rather than 9. And then fireworks will be kicking off at 6:30 rather than 8:30 as a result of that. And of course, that means that the Jefferson Street Bridge will be closing earlier. That'll shut down at about 5:45 here this afternoon, and then reopening around 7:15. And of course, coming up here in just about 5 minutes or so, that parade is going to be kicking off here. And however, it will be going on, but there will just be a fewer balloons out there, of course, with some of that snowfall. So without further ado, we're going to get prepared for our coverage here of the parade. So please stand by here on our WIFR app, as well as WIFR.com, for our WIFR annual Stroll on State parade coverage.